Hello, today we are going to check the indefinite pronouns. The indefinite pronouns are the words or the kind of pronouns that you have to use when you don't give a specific person, object, or place. This kind of indefinite pronouns doesn't have a gender, so for that reason you don't know if the person is a man or is a woman, or for example, exists a lot of things or less. You don't have a specific quantity, gender, or a specific definition of the object. For that reason are indefinite. The indefinite pronouns are composed for two different kind of words. The word that said how many or what is the selection that you choose, and the other that say you what is the kind of object or the thing or person that you talk about. For example, the first words that I said to you is, for example, you have the word every. Every is used when you want to explain that all the things are included. So that is, are included. For that reason, it's the word every. Now, you have another that is, for example, some. And some is used for a random selection, and a specific selection. You have another that is any, and any can take the place of some or can take the place of no, depends on the situation and the kind of sentence. In a moment I will explain you in what situation you can use it like some and what other situation you can use it like no. And I can say in this case, for example, that could be a selection or that could be an exclusion, depending. And the last that you have is, for example, no. In the case of no, you have to use it for exclusion. Excluded. Everything is excluded in this case. Now, this is the first part of the word of indefinite pronouns. You have others that, for example, are one. In the case of one, you have to use it, for example, when you talk about a person in an individual way. That this is so important because this is a person but individual. Okay, I change the color. Okay, exists another that is, for example, body. And body is used again as a person, but this person is as a group, or it is an example, for example, a group that could be when you extend your options. In this case, you have another that is, for example, the word think, and think is used for objects. And the last that you have to use is where. Where is used for places. So, now, as I said in the beginning, you have to combine them and you have to form the word that you want to explain or that you want to use. For example, if you combine these, everyone, I take my word every and I take my word one and I combine it. But what is the meaning of this? Remember, every is because all of the things or all the persons in this case are included. And I talk about that one is a person but in individual way. So if I say everyone, is because I want to ask for the persons one by one, no, all together. If I said everyone has to pass to the board, it's because I say one by one, first one person, after another, and in that way, has to pass to the board. No, all of you at the same time. For that reason, if I took everybody is because I said that all the persons in the group has to pass to the board at the same time. If I said, for example, everybody has to do the homework, it's because I took all my group and I said all of them have to do the activity at the same time. Okay, now, in the case, for example, everything is because all the things that I talk about are included. And if I say everywhere, obviously, is because all the places are included in the things that I want to explain. Okay, so that is in the case of every. Now, what happened in the case of a selection, in the case of some? For example, if I say someone, it's because I have a specific selection of a person and I just ask for one person. If I say, for example, if you go to a store and you say, can someone help me? It's because you asked a person in the specific group that you are talking about. If you go to that place, it's because you asked for one of the persons that you are watching. But for example, if you say somebody, that is completely different. It's because in this case you ask for one person, but that person could be in whatever area that you want to search. For example, if you say, can somebody help me to do this, is because you don't ask for that specific area. You probably ask for another department. And that is the reason that you can use somebody, that you extend your options. In the case of something, well, that is so easy too. You just have to have a specific selection of the object that you want to talk. Okay, and if the same, if you say somewhere, it's the same. That you have whatever place that you want to talk about. Okay, now we are going to pass immediately to no before than any, because I have to explain you any in a moment. So in the case of no, as the word said, you have to use it for when everything is excluded or the things are excluded. For example, in the case of no, this is important. You have to write no one like this. For example, when you say no one helps me. So that is because you don't include anything. In the say like nobody, that is an exactly group. Nobody does the homework, for example. In the case of nothing, well, that is easy. It's because it's excluded. And in the case of nowhere, it's the same. Okay, so now, what happened in the case of any? As I said to you, any can take the place of no for negative sentence and for some for affirmative sentences. And I just write it here that you can know what are the words. Those are anyone. Okay. You have anybody. You have anything. Okay. And you have anywhere. Okay, and I will write here. Okay. Anywhere for affirmative sentences. Take the place of somewhere, for example. And anywhere in the case of negatives take the place of nowhere. What is this? Is, for example, I take this. I like to eat somewhere. Okay, that is whatever place that you want. So you don't have a specific selection of the thing. Okay, so in this case you have affirmative sentence and you say that you like to eat somewhere. In whatever place. And actually, if you write it with any, you have the same example. I like to eat anywhere, so that you don't have any specific place that you want to eat. In both sentences, because both this is affirmative, is the same, like this. Okay, have the same specific meaning. In this case, both are the same. And for example, if I say this, I like to eat nowhere. Is the same if you said, I don't like to eat anywhere. And that is the way that you have to write it. In this case, you have that when you talk about any in affirmative sentences, you take the same meaning like some. And in the case of any for negative sentences, you have to use it the same meaning, and you have the same meaning like no. For that reason, you have to use it in that way. Now, one specific rule that you have to use, in the case of some, you have to use it specific for affirmative sentences. It's preferred that you use it for affirmatives, because in other case you can use another. But in the case of no, you have to write it always in affirmative. If you write, I don't like to eat nowhere, this is so incorrect. This you can't use it. Okay, this is no, you can't use it in this way. It's incorrect. You can use negative sentences with no. For that reason, you use with any. When you have any, you have to use negative sentences if you want to take this meaning. Okay, and for affirmative sentences, you have to use it like this. These are the specific rules for some, every, any, and no in case of the indefinite pronouns.